Hey everyone, it's Heather, and I just thought I would do a video. I haven't done one in maybe a month and a half or even 2 months, I'm not sure. But figured it was about time for me to put up something else. If you can see my bike in the back window, I am on my way to go for a bike ride. My clinical was canceled for today, so I spent the morning getting homework done and studying a little bit and did some baking, and now I'm going to go treat myself to a bike ride. So biking is a fairly new thing for me. I've only been doing it for maybe a month or so, but I'm trying to get in some good bike time on my days off, because when I'm actually at clinical or precepting, I tend to not exercise on those days. And I know that you walk around the hospital, but it's not exactly the same. So really trying to get in some bike rides while the weather is nice, because I like cool weather. I do not do anything outside when it's hot out. So that's my new thing. Anyway, I'm in my second to last semester of respiratory school, getting near the end of this semester. I think we've got right about a month left, less than a month of actual classes, but we still have about a month left of days that we can precept. I have just a little over 700 hours of clinical and or precepting time so far. In my program, we have to have 800 to 1,000 to graduate. So my goal is by the end of this semester, and as long as everything continues, as long as I don't get more days canceled, I will have right about 800 hours at the end of this semester. And my plan with that was, even if we got shut down again because of COVID, because if you've been watching the news, the numbers are going back up, and I know that they are going back up in the hospitals that I've been to. Even if we got shut out of clinicals again for COVID, I really wanted to give myself enough of a cushion so that I wasn't going to have an issue with graduating when the time comes. So I should be good to go for graduation whenever that comes about. As far as classes go, I am currently taking my neonatal pediatric class. That is a more difficult class than the others have been recently. If you watched any of my videos from summer, I had mechanical ventilation this summer. I know that most people say that that's a very difficult class. It was not for us, and a lot of that is because of COVID. We were really kind of spoon-fed along in that class. I still feel like I learned what I needed to learn from it, but it was not a difficult class. We were very much, given the answers and I don't know how well that will serve everyone in the program, to just kind of be spoon-fed and given the answers to the tests and things like that. But regardless, I have made sure that I need to know that I've learned what I need to, and feel that I'm doing fairly well on that front. I do have my eye on one particular hospital system that I want to work for, and I'm hoping that that pans out. I've got some people that I've precepted with and that I've gotten to know there, and people who have spoken up on my behalf to the director there. So I am very hopeful that that's where I will end up after graduation. Obviously, I don't know for certain, so I'm still precepting at other locations. I don't want to just get stuck knowing people only at one place, and then when I go to apply for jobs, the other hospitals that I apply at have no idea who I am. That's one of the things that, if you have multiple hospitals in your area that you plan on applying to after graduation, and you have the option to get precepting or clinicals at all of those locations, take advantage of that. Do not just say, well, I like this one hospital and only precept there. I have done the majority of my precepting at only 2 locations. So there's one hospital system that has two hospitals that are overseen. It's the same department. So if you work for that department, you might find yourself working at either hospital on any given day. Usually you are you're kind of like, you have your base hospital, but you might have to go over to the other one if they need help or, whatever. I like both of them. I would be happy working at either of those hospitals. So that's kind of where I'm hoping at this point. But I have absolutely still been working on getting precepting hours at other hospitals just so that I can have my foot in the door and actually know at least a couple of people when time comes to apply. So board exams are coming up actually in 2 days. We are taking our first official practice board exam, and it counts for 40% of our grade in our clinical class. So I'm a little bit nervous about that. Not that I won't do okay. I'm fairly certain that I will do fine on it. But I don't know how fine that will be for my grade in that class. I do still have a 4.0 at this point, and I would really like to keep it. But I've been doing some practice board exams, and I know that the highest I have scored on any of them is an 86%, a raw score of 120 out of 140, which for the board exam is actually pretty good. That's passing at the high cut mark. I have taken a practice board exam 4 or 5 times, and I have passed at the high cut mark. And this is just the TMC. This is the first of the 2 board exams that you take to try and get your RRT. So if you take the first exam and you pass at the low cut, you get your CRT. If you pass at the high cut, you get your CRT, and you have the ability to continue on and take the ClinSim and hopefully get your RRT. So I'm just talking about the first of the 2 board exams. Every time I have taken a practice one, which is on the NBRC website and through one of the textbooks that we got in our bundle, is by Gary Persing, and it gives you online access to practice exams and practice test questions and ClinSims and a whole bunch of material that I think is really, really useful. So I've taken an exam there and NBRC, and there was some other one I don't remember. So I've taken it about 5 times, and I've passed at the high cut mark all 5 times. Every time I've taken it, I've done a little bit better. Every time I've taken a new one. So that's good. That tells me that I'm still, that I am learning stuff. And we take that on Friday. So I don't know if that score is going to be, if I get an 80 whatever percent on that, if that's going to be my grade in class. I really hope not, because that will take out my 4.0. But to be honest, no one cares about grades once you leave school. So it's not the end of the world if I don't get an A in that class. It's just one of those personal, things that I'm just trying to do. But I will be perfectly happy as long as I pass all my classes, get to take my board exams, pass my boards, and get a job. That's what my real end goal is. I highly recommend starting to take practice exams, or at least, looking at some practice test questions and going over test questions just to get a feel for how they phrase things, what things you're most likely to encounter. You're going to encounter questions about certain disease processes much more frequently than others. You're going to have questions about obstructive diseases. You're going to have questions about asthma and COPD and things of that nature, much more than you are questions about, even like lung cancer or something that you might think would be really common. Bronchitis, bronchiectasis, COPD, asthma, these are the most common adult diseases, and even pediatric to a certain extent diseases that I have seen on the practice exams for boards. And then also doing a practice CSE, which is the ClinSim. I think it's a good idea to start doing those early, because they're done in a kind of specific format, and you really get a good idea of, it's always a good thing to pick this sort of thing, or I should never pick this thing. There's a lot of tricks to it, it seems. And I know that we will be doing a Kettering seminar in our last semester, very shortly before we do our boards, and that is supposed to be really, really helpful to teach you how to take the CSE especially, because yes, it's about what you know, but at least with the ClinSims, it's also about learning how to pick the best answer, because there are absolutely going to be, this is a good answer, but this is a better answer. So just learning some of those little tricks. As far as being in the hospitals go, nothing really new. I feel like I've got a good handle on all the basic stuff. Like at this point, I feel like if I were needed to go out and just do basic care, neb treatments, putting someone on CPAP or BiPAP or things like that, at this point I feel really confident in doing that. I feel really confident in knowing how to change parameters on vents, how to set up vents for a new patient. The things I feel like I need a little bit more is a lot of the hands-on stuff. That's all stuff that you get more confident with practice. And so certainly I am not ready to just walk out the door and start doing the job right this minute, but I feel much more confident than I did at the beginning of our summer semester. I feel like I'm getting a better handle on the job and what it entails, and whether or not I will really realistically be able to do this job. And I think the answer to that is yes. I think that I will. Like I said, I still have a lot to learn, but I'm feeling really good about it. I'm feeling really confident. Feeling confident in my ability to pass my boards, which is one of the most important things for me at this point, because you don't pass your boards, you don't have a chance to do the job, no matter how good you're going to be at it. So that's just pretty much how it's going. And, trying to take advantage of free time here and there where I get it. It's almost the holidays. COVID is still keeping me mostly at home, other than when I'm at the hospital. So I am trying to do things like go on bike rides and walk my dogs where it's stuff that I can still do it and be safe as far as COVID goes. So I hope everyone else is keeping safe. Hope you're enjoying school if you're in it. If you are a new student this semester and are looking to start your clinicals next semester, or if you just started your clinicals this semester, I'd love to hear how it's going for you. And anyone else who's starting to focus on their board exams like I am, I hope you're getting the hang of it and starting to feel confident about passing your boards. And just let me know how you're doing. And I'll see you next time.